Good evening all, it's John from Veganism KILLS. It's 5:53 p.m. Wednesday, February 9th. Today let's go over Mr. Satire's himself video and see what Mr. Satire David Rams condones. In this video here, angry farmer versus vegan activist. He attacked them. Let's see how he dramas this one up. David doesn't like to be called Snowflake. He calls everybody else a meat flake. From now on, David, you're known as the drama queen, the vegan drama queen. Okay, in this video, you're going to see a bunch of blue-clad vegan activists. They're all wearing the same blue uniform to kind of like portray that there's some kind of government entity in some kind of uniform. And you'll see some of them ditch the uniform because they know they've been busted. They're also claiming that they have the right to go onto other people's sovereign property, where even the police can't go on your property without a proper search warrant writ by a judge. They also seem to think that trespassing on somebody's property and trying to pose as some kind of government entity by wearing matching uniforms is somehow going to fool people into letting them onto the property in the first place. They also accuse this farmer of having, treating the animals cruelly, which are pigs. But let's see. I have an eye for that. I knew a pig farmer or two, and they took me around their farms, and these people knew what they were doing, and their animals were given the okay by the FDA. Let's see what this guy's farm looks like that these vegans are whining. The first thing you'll notice here on the bottom is, who are you? Well, that's the farmer asking about 20 masked people dressed in blue, who the fuck are you and what are you doing on my property? And you look at these vegans, the way they're dressed, it's sort of like a cross between Children of the Corn and Ghostbusters. So let's get to it. Who are you? Now you'll notice the farm says, who are you? Now you look, you could see these, I call these bite boards. They put these, around the pigs because they'll bite each other. They'll grab onto stuff walking by and try to nibble it and eat it. But even the pig's like, who the fuck are these people? And the pig is clean. There's no feces laying about. So again, the vegans' assumption that they should pose as a government entity and get onto your farm without actually being a government entity or having any permission to be on your farm, and to criminally trespass with criminal intent, that's okay with vegans, you see. For they have given themselves their authority granted to them by David Rams. Now, the farmers, they fail to identify themselves, or he realizes who they are and tells them to get out. Now, we're going to discuss that the farmer had every right, since it's his property, to tell you to leave. And if you don't leave, he's allowed to use force to make you leave. You are an intruder on his property. You're uninvited. And you were trying to pose with these little blue jumper suits that you were some kind of authority, and you needed to be there to check up on him and see if he was being bad or good. Now you'll see this guy over there who's got half a brain left still in his head and not suffering from vegan brain fog. He decides to get the hell out of there. Well, he's the smartest one of the bunch. But I want you to see how vegans leave after they've been told to leave. Now, bear in mind, the person filming this is also dressed in blue and with these vegans. They've been asked to leave now. Get out! Get out now! Saturday the 31st July, animal rights activists peacefully enter a UK pig farm. First of all, you're not peacefully entering a UK pig farm if you're trespassing. Trespassing with criminal intent. Trespassing is a criminal intent. And he attacked him. No, he was defending himself by a bunch of unannounced masked people showing up on his farm. And the numbers of them being on his farm, like they were. I'll show you that. Of course, it would raise alarm when you see a bunch of people dressed like cult members and wearing masks suddenly appear on your property. Like, again, it's like, what the hell is this? A new rendition of Children of the Corn? Expose horrific conditions inside. Meanwhile, the farmer doesn't recall inviting him on his property, and as far as I could tell, that farm's in pretty good condition. Now we're going to see the violent nature of the owner of this farm. Realize they say, who is the owner? The owner, not the vegans. What were you doing trespassing on the farmer's property? Oh, don't question that. Because vegans are an authority. They're like the police. They could just show up with no warrant and just go all over your property and accuse you of crimes. Crimes that, by the way, as far as I could tell, didn't exist. Even the police cannot go on your property without a search warrant. Vegans are now saying that they have more authority than the police now. Or they're pretending to be some kind of law enforcement authority, which they're not. So you got trespass. They're pretending to be some kind of law enforcement authority, which they're not. That's impersonating an officer. Plus, they violated this guy's civil rights by not respecting his privacy or his private property. That's 4. I know it's hard for you to count over that, vegans. Now, they were just been asked to leave, and one of them gets a well-deserved boot to the ass because it's the farmer's right. If he told you to leave and you're not, to use physical force to get you off the farm. You'll notice the person that's filming this hasn't moved an inch since they've been told to get the fuck out of there. Now watch. You'll also notice there's some masked characters standing there. This must be Chickmunk 007, vegan friggin' guardian of the universe. They're not moving. And the person filming this gentleman, reserving his right to use force to remove somebody illegally on his property, they're just standing there filming him and not getting the fuck out like he asked. He's the authority. He owns the property. He's the authority to who enters his property or does not. And the only people that can prevent that authority is a search warrant signed by a judge. Not vegans. Now you just seen, if you go back, you'll see there's another bunch of vegans right next to the Chipmunk 007 there. You see them? Told them to get out. They're not moving. Right? So you're surrounded by masked people pretending to be some kind of law enforcement. Of course, that's why they're all wearing those jumpsuits to appear like there's some kind of law enforcement. Now, he just hit another person because you were asked to leave and you're not complying. Therefore, force is necessary to remove you from his property. Perfectly legal. Now, you'll notice they're all wearing these blue jumpsuits and trying to appear as some kind of authority. You know, we got uniforms on. We work for blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. It's just a ruse. And they're all wearing masks. And now, he wants to leave. The farmer's saying, no, I'm detaining you for the police. You trespassed on my property. You're a criminal. So watch what happens.
Please. Please, let us all go.
Now you'll notice vegans use this tactic, I noticed. When the men are in trouble, the women start crying and playing the victim. You know, they drama it up so they could look like the victim. Meanwhile, this guy trespassed on the property, and now the farmer's deciding, you know what? I told you to leave, you wouldn't. Now you can't. I'm gonna hold you until the cops get here. Perfectly legal. Whether you realize it or not, it's not the farmer that's the criminal in here. It's the trespassing vegans who pretended to be an authority that they can go onto anybody's property anytime they wish. Why you got masks on for? Because they're trying to hide their identity. That's what criminals do. And yet the person that's filming this has still not complied to leave the property as the farmer said. The person holding the camera is one of their friggin' nutbag, blue garbage bag wearing idiots. Now, look how many people have entered this farmer's property without no legal jurisdiction to do so. And pretend, look, they all wear uniforms and pretend like there's some kind of legal bureaucracy, like CPS, coming to check you. Because we're an authority, and we're just going to come on your property any time we want, regardless if we're breaking the law. And then when farmers defend their property and their private property and their family by a gang of cult-like people wearing masks to show up on your property and they outnumber you, and then you're wondering why the farmer's reacting in a flight-to-fight mode? You broke the law. But the fucking idiot David Rams, he doesn't see nothing wrong. The vegans are the victim, not the person's house they went over to and violated their property rights and pretended to be some kind of government entity by wearing matching uniforms. That's right. Your boy got punched in the face because he is a criminal. He trespassed on his property, and now the guy is trying to detain him for when the police show up. Now it's leave them alone. Meanwhile, you went in somebody's property. This guy is a total dumbass to make an excuse for this. And he's going to say, well, what you just witnessed is vegans, blah, 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 playing hero. They had no legal authority to be on that person's property and they trespassed. They're fucking criminals. And they were treated as such by the owner of the farm. If I was sitting there minding my own business on my own property and then 10 people showed up in uniforms with masks, you would think they were a government bureaucracy going to say, who the hell are you? Well, it turns out they weren't. So the next thing, if they're not the law, they're the criminals. You trespassed. And of course, he tries to play the victim. He's a punk, this guy. He's a punk. And on that note, I'm out of here.